A student arrives in kindergarten, ready to learn, excited about being at school, but struggles with the basic pre-readiness skills. The teacher is concerned. Is it exposure? Is it ELL? Is there a cognitive piece? The teacher thinks there may be something more, but is lacking in the knowledge and skills to identify what is missing. He has had formalized assessments, such as the early years evaluation teacher assessment. The results were mostly green and yellow, the overall RTI of 2. And a speech and language assessment, SELFIE Preschool 2, the clinical evaluation of language fundamentals, and the results were mild moderate. At this point, there is not enough information to apply a code.
He continues through Div 1, eager to learn and excited to be at school, but struggling with some of the harder concepts. With one-on-one support, he is successful, but the targeted support does not happen consistently enough or on a regular basis to have an impact. He is not falling behind, but he is not excelling. He is simply flying under the radar. This could be a light bulb moment. SLAs and CCAT came back at the lowest possible end of average, or met the standard of achievement. He's barely scraping by. He's not as eager to come to school. Teacher recommends parents go to doctor for ADD, but there is no follow-up. He doesn't fit any criteria for coding from Alberta Ed for formalized support. Although the teacher is aware there is a missing puzzle piece, she is feeling overwhelmed with other students with ELL, behavior, LD, and curriculum. There is no one in her school who has noticed that she is struggling, and no offers of support are present. She engages in PLC and PD activities, but once back in the classroom, she feels a lack of connection from the PD learning and what is happening in her classroom.
This child has totally lost interest in coming to school. Attendance is a concern, and when he is present, he is often withdrawn and not engaged in learning and not present in his environment. He has found a peer group of similar friends, and they are all at risk for making bad choices. Teachers are not attuned to him because he doesn't engage in learning. Teachers do not know how to modify curriculum to meet his needs and understand where his starting point is. Teachers do not know how to break down tasks to make it manageable for him. Teachers are feeling unable to make relationships or connections. He's not on a learning support plan or IPP, so teachers feel they don't need to accommodate. Now, what happens? He's at risk of not graduating, which could lead to difficulty finding employment, at risk of making bad choices, possibly criminal behavior. He has a limited earning potential. His future is unknown. He has reached a roadblock. What if?
CSCAT cores came back barely average. SLA came out barely average. He's barely scraping by. Although the teacher is aware there is a missing puzzle piece, she's feeling overwhelmed with other students with ELL, behavior, LD, curriculum. In reviewing class files during SLT or SRT processes, the principal questions how teachers are meeting this child's particular needs. The principal knows the student from his walkabout and supervision and had noticed that this student appeared frustrated with school after a trying day. Principal recognized that, even though he doesn't meet coding criteria, he still has special and unique needs.
The principal works as a team with other experts to determine the best course of action for this student. Information around his conditions for success are listed in IRIS or his SLP, easily accessible by all teachers who work with this student. The principal is knowledgeable in different research-based curricular approaches, such as Universal Design for Learning, UDL, and either provides the teacher with appropriate PD or sends her to PD to learn how to implement this within her classroom. The focus of assessment becomes less about the mastery of content and more about the mastery of learning. In following the principles of UDL, students are given multiple means of expression, engagement, and ways to represent their learning. The teacher and student discovers he is talented in creating and editing videos. In tapping into this talent, the spark for learning is reignited.
Both teacher and principal need to know curriculum or who to call on for help. The principal supports the teacher through accessing curricular experts, allowing the teacher time to understand his learning needs, and supporting the questions around the student's success plan. Modifications include breaking tasks down, flexible grouping, access to RTI time, modified assessments, peer tutoring, access to technology. The principal and teacher have worked with the student through IRIS and SLP and have him recognize his needs and conditions for success. This information is shared with the family in an open, respectful conversation. He is a willing participant in the process and advocates for his needs with every teacher. This information follows the child and as he transitions from class to class and school to school. There is no break or disruption in the sharing of information.
With advocacy and a leadership team focused on inclusion and ethic of care, this student graduated from high school and has a bright future ahead of him. What was missing the first time around? The ethic of care was missing. The principal and teacher let this child fall through the cracks. The principal did not notice that the teacher was feeling overwhelmed, did not notice the lack of engagement in learning. What happened the second time? Someone noticed. Someone took time. Someone advocated for this child. Someone demonstrated an ethic of care.
Public education must serve all children, not simply those with the loudest and most powerful advocates. For students with complex needs that don't meet coding criteria, we would expect parents to be their first and foremost advocate. If this does not happen for whatever reason, someone at school must advocate for them. The principal is accountable for ensuring that the needs of all students are met.
Assessment is a process of information gathering using a variety of techniques and strategies. Testing is only one aspect of the assessment. However, it often becomes an end in itself. We must keep the entire picture of the child in mind. Assessment is a huge piece with multiple layers. It is important to consider parent concerns, classroom functioning, teacher observations. Formalized tests are just one small piece.
Traditional assessment methods frequently are inappropriate or simply do not meet the needs of the students with cognitive challenges. Therefore, principals must also be able to model creative, real-world applications for assessment purposes. In the case of our student, the principal worked with the teacher through the ideas of UDL to discover his unique learning profile. Personalized learning opportunities provided him with the means to engage with the curriculum in a meaningful and authentic manner.
School leaders must also be skillful at working with a variety of other people. For example, students, parents, educators, paraprofessionals, and experts. Leaders need to meaningfully engage parents and outside agencies, including psychological services, occupational therapists, and physiotherapists, acknowledging that each stakeholder contributes unique knowledge, expertise, and resources that can supplement the school-based support for special needs students. There are many opportunities for teachers to work with other professionals to meet the needs of their students. Teachers must engage in a growth mindset and be willing to learn and open to reflection on their own practice. It is the principal's responsibility to foster these relationships.
The principal must know and understand pedagogically and developmentally sound programming options for students with cognitive challenges. Principals assume that teachers know how to effectively and meaningfully modify the curriculum. However, teachers often feel untrained or undertrained in this skill set.
There must be a focus on the importance of establishing trusting, collaborative, empowering relationships between families and educators in the facilitation of inclusion. In the first scenario, the parents were requested to do an ADD screening but never completed the referral and did not visit a doctor. Was this because the parent did not feel there was a trusting relationship with the school?
It is a significant part of the work of teachers and administrators to establish supportive, caring relationships between all stakeholders.
Change begins with the ethic and exercise of care. What a difference it made for our student when we rewound to the light bulb moment. In his case, the principal noticed. Ethic of care is about seeing the person, what they bring to the table, their background, their ethnicity, their unique talents, a learning difference, the whole package.